to say this, John, but I think the Veno pick's really good here for SKG. I could be proven wrong, but we'll see. SKG. It's the thing with the Dark Willow Veno lane, like that's a really annoying lane to have to play against. Like, especially if Nine can land these brambles into the Gale, it is just stupid amounts of slow and damage. Like, Gale at all levels is 50% slow. This is the thing that annoys me about this hero. Now that it's actually good. 50% slow. It's pretty ridiculous.
Pretty damn high. It really suppresses you early on in the lane. If you are running like a Pugna... To be fair, a Pugna TA lane is also really awkward. I don't think... You don't really have a direct tie with your TA as a Pugna. Decrep ruins her harassment. Netherblast griefs her in lane. So I'm wondering how much Takaya can do to relieve that pressure. You probably... I mean, you might be better off actually running Underlord Pugna, if that is one route that Alpha could consider. Although it does look like Takaya will just head up there anyway. Sentries drop, doesn't bother with the D-Ward just yet. Just checking if anyone else will try to jump him. So Takaya does get a nice freebie for himself in the obs. As we do see these lanes start to break out, of course. And as mentioned, it's going to be a Pugna TA lane, which is not something I'm fully sold on. Like,
I mean,
you're up against the Veno Dark Willow, which, again, it's already a natural solution to your TA, but I don't know what Pugna does to relieve that lane. Like, you have you have the Blast level 1, you can try to harass. You can't really do much. You just have to probably just cut your losses here for Argus and hope that he farms up, hits his level 3, where it's a little bit comfier, and just don't die. You know, don't go that close up to this Dark Willow, up to the Veno, and hope for the best.
I mean, if SKG play this properly, there's no way. Look at this. They'll jump in, blood grenades there, Argus, I'm pretty sure is just going to die, and he's gone. Ducho, he's going to man up. Takaya is still trying to take down the Veno. I think Ducho's happy to reset, though, as Nine now going to go for the man fight, but Takaya's out with a double kill. I mean, nice start for Takaya, but they do still give first blood over to Nine on the Dark Willow. I think as the Pugna, you're pretty happy with the way that ended out, but I'm not so much sure for the TA, though. Argus going down. And this lane's not going to get easier, John. It's going to get worse. They go in again. Brambles does not land. But Poison Sting is now up, so you've got even more damage and slow coming. And like I said, I think this is going to be a disastrous lane for Alpha. I mean, unless they can get some massive outplays, but I really can't see that happening. Even with that double kill on the Pugna, it doesn't really matter that much, I don't think.
I think the key for Alpha is just try to build stacks up here for Argus. Try to let him catch up in the jungle. And again, just minimize your losses in the laning phase. That's all you can really hope for in this kind of lane matchup. We'll see how well Argus can hold up, but you do have the advantage here for Sand King Gómez, at least very early on. Still take the chance to look at the other lanes, as we were sneaking a peek up top where there was some aggression out. They couldn't manage to pin down our techies here, so Braxy did just TP out in front of our Monkey King. This is Leonidas on the Monkey and Jubei on the Silencer up against Ducho on the... Is that Blessed Kid? Blessed Kid off lane, right? Ah, that's the swap. Satoshi's gone, but Argus plays safe. Blessed Kid on off with the Underlord, along with Braxy on the Techies. Again, the Techies Underlord lane, pretty stable. You're not going to be as aggressive on the Monkey, but you could be if you land every spell. Again, under Firestorm, the Sticky Bomb, and Blast Off, it's going to be a lot of nuking damage. Whether or not you can get on top is another question. Jubei can't do much to zone out, as you'd expect, because Techie's outranges, so you can just get free harass, no problem. Underlord doesn't care for the right-click sider. So you're pretty happy in this lane. It's a very static farming lane for the most part. It does feel maybe a bit more secure for the side of Alpha, but no one's really going to be looking to punish early on unless someone oversteps here.
It's coming out top lane. I don't think they can really go for a kill here on Leonidas. In fact, Braxy's forced to blast off away. SKG doing a pretty damn good job at the top lane of finding quite a bit of farm on Leonidas. I feel like this lane could have been a bit more dominant from Alpha, but end of the day, Leonidas and Jabay proving to be a little bit too aggressive and just not allowing the kind of plays that Alpha wanted to make in the off lane. This KG, well, Nine's going to move in, take the water rune away. Takaya was there as well. He'll have to run back to the laning stage. In the end, Lun's the one to miss out on the Void Spirit, so SKG do kind of suffer here at the mid lane. But speaking of Lun, John, you look at his CS, he's top of the board right now. No issues whatsoever on the Void Spirit. Sure, still is trying to address this by harassing the crap out of him, but ultimately he is fine.
Yeah, and it's just the dynamic of the matchup, right? If you don't manage to really hammer in your overload, then it kind of feels a little bit lackluster. Lund can just hold steady. Void Spirit already has the bracer, so you feel pretty good, pretty secure. You're not going to die anytime soon. You've got a little bit more damage to pump out as well. And the right-click trades just favor you in the end as a universal type. Now we'll see how this does relief down the line. Again, you've got Pugna Storm. That does take levels. So that's where maybe getting that double kill for Kai feels better, although he does get clipped.
Yeah, Takai's down, Blessed Kid's down top lane. Leonidas able to find a very nice pick off on the Monkey King. Yeah, like you said, bottom lane, you also ended up losing your Pugna. And it's just the thing, like this, you can't lane against this Veno Dark Willow. It's gonna feel impossible. And the thing is with Veno, like, because he's universal and he gets a double bracer build, he actually does damage with his right clicks. You know, it's not all about stacking Poison Sting on heroes consistently anymore. This hero actually kind of hurts. Argus is probably not enjoying himself very much, to say the least. I don't think he's had a very good laning stage. 25-2 right now in the TA. Obviously, it is a TA, and they do tend to go jungle and just kind of flash farm from there. But with the draft that SKG have, they could choose to get very aggressive and not allow that to happen.
Yeah, just depends on this build-up you'd see elsewhere, like whether or not Leonidas wants to help you scout around, how fast you get into, say, your Echo Saber here for Lund.
Look at this top lane. Leonidas just chases him down, has the boundless, is going to land it, though won't quite have enough for the kill. Leonidas, he's going a little bit too far. Still's going to zip in. Plenty of mana to play with. Leonidas getting a little bit greedy. Is eventually just going to be punished. Blast off lands. Sticky bomb is there. Sometimes you just want to chase the kill, but sometimes it does cost your life as top, or rather bottom lane. They are trying onto Ducho, who's trying to kill off Argus here. The TA is eventually going to drop as Lund has rotated. And Takaya is not going to be safe either. Might just be a double kill for Lund as they do secure it on the Void Spirit. Very nice rotation here from the Void. And so you kind of have the opposite thing happening at bot lane. Oh, even better for SKGs, they even got a +5 out of it. And now Blessed Kid, top lane once again is being chased down, but this time he will not survive.
Yeah, just a lot of back and forths, and Sand King Gómez showing us how well they can play this aggression. Again, this is something that they have to achieve in the laning phase. I think if they didn't, then you'd be in dire straits, but you are off to a really strong start now. You have suppressed the TA quite well. The Dragonlance timing, it does feel like for Argus, is going to be a lot slower than you'd want it to be, which means your Desolator is also going to be late, your Blink's going to be late, your Roche taking's really stalled out. Inside of Alpha is just going to have to try to use their Storm as a launching point. Steel's already taken some early activity, of course. Your level 6 is not too bad for Takaya. Like, his level timings doesn't feel like it's going to be too far off the mark, at the least with all the activities he's brought to his lane. And at that point, you've got to be able to play with your Storm. Like, you will have to watch yourself. Once Jubei has that global silence, it's going to be a lot harder to try to play that hit and run. But, you know, you did pick this combination into the silencer. You have to find a way to play against it for sure here.
It's kind of funny to see Ducho on the Veno top of the CS board right now. Just this guy's just having the freest game of his life. Going for the mech build up, I believe. The Greaves on the Veno. Obviously, it's still an aura builder. How far the Venomancer has come, John, from a year ago when I was talking about how trash this hero was. Good times, but not so much anymore. Veno's actually useful.
Yeah, it can be. It's not as niche, although it's still somewhat niche. I'd say it's not like a pick this hero every time kind of hero. Still like a very certain matchups feel really good for the Veno kind of thing. And TA definitely is just a classic Veno matchup that you feel good about. I think the one thing as well is also the vision you get with the wards can be pretty impactful. Smoke play out from SKG, collapsing bot.
Oh, bottom lane, Argus forced the TP away. He's going to be fine. The Brambles not going to be there in time as 9. Going to be focused here. They have brought the Storm. Still going to cop the Curse Crown stun, but it's going to be just a level 1 stun. Not too big of a deal. Will not last long enough. It still is sticking around just in case they need it for the defense of this tier 1 bottom tower, but maybe they can pick off Ducho. He has stuck around. They know the Storm was there, and now they will know he is still there. And so, I don't think Ducho will quite be willing to risk his life, but yeah, he will survive. Like, the Storm rotation, while it amounts to a bit of farm here for Steel, it doesn't really amount to any kills, which is a little bit upsetting for him.
Yeah, but it's not really him looking for the kills, though. It's more of a defensive response as they'll chase forward.
Ducho, you certainly wanted the kill, and still will find it. Very, very nice pick off here. Ducho just sticking around for no real apparent reason as Lund also finds a kill himself. Lund picking off Braxi on the techies, but still a more favorable kill, you'd have to argue here for the side of Alpha.
Yeah, that's the kill you've been looking for. Yeah, you managed to finally put a lid on that Mancer for the time being, get a little bit of space out for Argus to farm. Not a massive lead coming out here from SKG despite the 5-7 start. They are already getting work done on mid with a siege creep though. They have done a good job of cutting down at mid tier 1 by a fairly good amount. They even drag in Ducho here, so looking to perhaps look for that full commitment. No, the wards aren't the highest level, so they are still a bit squishy, but you do have basically 2 melee heroes, and well, the TA is not going to be helping you there, so it's pretty hard for them to clear out these plague wards. There'll always be a lot of utility coming out from Ducho just because of that.
Pretty even game right now here, John. Like, less than 1k net worth lead. All cores pretty similar in terms of net worth. The SKG is slightly ahead, but not really by too much at all. The thing is, like, the mid and safe lane for SKG have just gone way too well. I say mid and safe lane, even the off lane obviously went quite well as well. And I think, you know, if you're SKG, like, whether you want to set a tempo or not this game against this TA, it does feel like their scaling is just fine going into the late game. So it's, I don't think you're quite as worried about this TA Storm being too much of an issue. Just because TA's, you know, one of its main strengths being refraction just isn't going to feel like it's a big deal this game with the Venomancer. Or even with the Monkey King, you've got an Orb of Corrosion on, which is a nice way of kind of burning through those refraction charges. And so, like, Steel can, you know, become huge on the Storm for sure, but I just kind of wondered, like, against a hero like the Void Spirit, does it really matter that much? I guess we'll have to wait and see. What I'm trying to say here, John, is SKG scaling is pretty good, I would argue, with their draft. I don't think it's a problem.
I don't think it's too bad. It's just connecting all these spells is maybe a bit more of a challenge. Like, yes, the Monkey King's great, but you don't have a great way of keeping heroes in Wukongs, for example. Your Venomancer is great until BKBs come out, if ever you do reach that point, to be fair. I think Sand King Gómez has the potential to just run down and stop Alpha from ever hitting these timings. But if it does drag on a little bit more, it does feel like you're relying more and more on Lund to make plays, right? He's always got to get the jump in, he's always got to get the Remnant off as basically your basic control. Maybe you can also just land a Bramble out from your Dark Willow, and it's just not the most reliable stuns. Granted, Alpha has the same issue, but Pit of Malice is a little bit quicker, a little bit snappier to set up. You've got the Vortex, which down the line with the Ags upgrade can feel pretty significant in the game. Again, these are all pretty long builds. I think the key thing for Sand King Gómez is just don't even try to go into that point in the game. Keep playing aggressive, don't slow down.
Oh!
And find these kills. Yeah.
Oh, it's hilarious. They both just went right into the minds of Braxy. Double kill for the techies, and it's been a while since I've seen that from our techies. His mid lane, Lund fighting Takaya, is going to get caught by a vortex, but will dissimulate. And here comes Ducho trying to help out. He'll go onto the TA. Leonidas is there as well, and Argus is locked down. They do at least get Ducho, but now Still's in trouble. He'll zip away just barely. But still a pretty nice trade in the mid lane for SKG. They are looking to maybe start pressuring the mid tier 1 tower, and well, they are going to group up. That's exactly what they're going to try and do.
Again, you don't want to rest here. You're on SKG. You want to find these objectives. You want to play fast. Watching a huge response mid. At the least, you can always top up Steel now. You do have level 6 on Takaya. So your Storm's never going to go hungry. Always going to be ready to zip across now with that support battery online. You do have the early mech up and running now as well on Blessed Kid. So a lot more sustain coming out here as well. Wondering if the pipe's going to be a consideration here after the Guardian Greaves. It doesn't feel like the Crimson Guard's going to be as big as the pipe. At least at this point in the game. The Crimson Guard will still be effective later on, but your immediate concern is that magic output. I would like to see that pipe come through at some point here.
The tier 1 tower getting quite low, but they are going to blink away here on Argus. Alpha, I mean, they are sticking around. Still is 5. Trying to find a way to start a fight here, I think, but no, eventually they are going to back off. Perfect timing as well, because Duto did just pick up the Guardian Greaves, so probably wouldn't be the best fight to try and start, but SKG, they're going to smoke up. They want to go off the spike of this itemization of the Veno, and Argus. Does he get out in time? It looks like they're going to find Takaya first, but a nice boundless. Leonidas right on target, finding both of them. That is going to be both the Pugna and the TA dropping. SKG doing a fantastic job here already in this first game of the tiebreakers. The Blessed Kid just trying to run his way up, but Leonidas is on the chase, ready to cut him off whenever. While it is going to take some time, I don't think Blessed Kid is getting out of this one. So drop the Pit of Malice, but Leonidas getting right to work. Way too many slows available here against the Underlord. Leonidas, he will take another kill on the MK.
I like this coming out from Leonidas. Just Echo Saber into Harpoon, take early activity, join your team. They know the strengths of this lineup, Sand King Gómez, and they're playing to it really well. Argus has to be a little bit more careful. That's his 4th death on the TA. His farm timing's again stalled out by a massive amount. The Desolator he's trying to farm up for feels pretty damn far. He does have the early blink at the least, so you get refraction up. You can kind of try to get yourself out of dodge, but your window is slim. As you are playing TA into the Vanmancer, it's a little bit awkward to try to maximize your mobility here. Sand King Gómez for their part, and this activity, the fact that you're bringing Leonidas in, it's good news. Again, the Harpoon already paying off in a massive way. I'm curious, can you use Harpoon while you're on a tree? You should be able to, right?
Yes, you can.
Does that provide any real benefit outside of doing it out, in fog? Do they get dragged? They just get right next to the tree, right? Do they break the tree from forced movement? No.
No, the Monkey King does not get stunned by it.
Okay, beautiful. He gets dragged out. Good.
Yeah.
That'd be hilarious if it did.
Yeah, it'd be pretty funny. I was actually wondering when I saw the Harpoon build up, I was like, is this going to break the tree? But no, it does not. Leonidas just jumps off once he uses the Harpoon. So there's that. Very, very nice. Good to see somebody thought about this before this item was introduced.
Yeah, that is something nice. Would have been funny if it wasn't in the consideration, though.
It'd be hilarious.
I think I'll always go back to that. It would be funnier if it did, but it's good that it doesn't.
Yeah, I dare say it is pretty good that it does not.
It's not as funny.
Top lane. It's not as funny, sadly, Jonathan. So top lane, they are slowly starting to push this tier 1 tower in. Ducho's going to be a little bit of a menace, though. Just can spam the Plague Wards, and that's usually quite a lot in terms of just delaying things. But it seems like Alpha are slowly setting up to try and secure this Veno pickoff, but there are plenty of TPs incoming from SKG to be ready to defend. Lund going to have a look for a target. I believe he did barely spot Takaya there for a moment, but See, unwilling to jump in blindly, is just going to leave it at that. So Alpha with a successful retreat will go back into the Radiant Triangle, but unable to find the tier 1, that they might get Leonidas, but a nice boundless strike out from the Monkey King. He'll get the Wukong's command off in time, and now the Harpoon back on the Storm. Steel is still going to be alright though. Splash Kid is here, a nice Pit of Malice, the blast off to land as well. The Guardian Group's going to heal them up a little bit, but not enough. They are going to drop. A big Terrorize, however, is out from the Dark Willow, but they are still not doing enough damage. SKG dropping like flies now as Lund's even going to jump in, trying to at least find Argus. But Argus is being healed up.
Life drain.
He'll have the refraction as well. So Alpha now able to win up a team fight. They will jump back in onto Lund, seeing if they can find the Void Spirit. He does not have any step charges, and he reveals himself in the end. He is going to drop. Alpha taking a huge team fight in the mid lane. SKG really kind of messing that one up. Leonidas, he was farming quite deep in the mid lane past the river, not respecting Alpha's positioning, and maybe just guessing they wouldn't want to go for the fight, but they do.
Dire are scanning.
Yeah, and this is where some of the weaknesses of the draft of Sand King Gómez kick in. This is not a draft that's very forgiving if you start to slip up like that. It's not a draft that you can afford to give openings on. You have to execute this draft well. You have to take these engagements in the preferred manner for yourself every single time, because if you don't, then you're going to lose out on your cooldowns. You're going to be inactive for a little bit longer. You know, global silence down means likely you're not going to be able to take these wider engagements, at very least, that do come out from Alpha. And Alpha with those kills, they've caught up by a fair amount. Your TA has managed to eclipse Leonidas. One downside of that Harpoon buildup is it's very kill-oriented. You can't just sit back and farm up as fast as, say, a Maelstrom Monkey King or the usual Battle Fury Monkey King. It's a little bit slower to recover if you start to drop away from these kills. And for Alpha, they're equalizing well. Someone's got to find Takai in the back line. Like, if this Pugna doesn't die, we see the effects of the healing there. Just topping up your Storm mid-fight, topping up your TA with a refraction up. You get a ton of value from just the Pugna surviving. You need to see Sand King Gómez kind of look for the back line. Tree dance aggressively, perhaps. Get some vision down with the Plague Wards. Get the jump going from Lund, because if you don't, then the Pugna, in these drawn-out fights, like you talked about with Storm, they enjoy these drawn-out fights because there's a Pugna around. You've got to take care of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want to drag out the fight as long as possible here.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Like, it's kind of like still just has a constant like regen rune going. If the team fight just keeps going longer and longer, it kind of feels like after a while. It's a Kaya. He's not too hard of a target to burst, but certainly is if he stays right behind the team and just doesn't allow you that opening. SKG looking for a 22-minute power rune, but they are not going to get it, as Argus does get lucky with the top power rune, picks up a haste for himself. And Argus now is very close to just being top of the net worth board. In fact, now he is. So the TA fully recovering after that terrible landing stage it had. And now he's actually looking very scary as, well, bottom lane SKG, they've got to be quite cautious here. It's going to be a full-on team fight from Alpha. They've got every member of the squad around to try and go for this fight if they so wish. SKG going to kind of get the memo, I think, as they do look to maybe retreat just a little bit. Poking and prodding on the high ground where the twin gates are, but not really committing quite yet. You are very reliant on Lund being able to start the fights, or even Leonidas. The only person really shying right now is Blessed Kid on the Underlord, as everyone else is smoked up behind him. Pings out for Blessed Kid, but he is the bait here for the side of Alpha. Zip-in is there. Who have they got? It's going to be the MK. Leonidas immediately caught out. He's going to try and man-fight back in the Wukong's command. He's doing a decent job of it. In fact, Steel's dropping kind of low, but no. Leonidas is gone. Lund will be forced to dissimulate out, but they even lose 9 on the Dark Willow. And the chase is on for a little bit more, as they are quite low on mana here for Steel, and he does not have the life draining coming, but they do have the Fiend's Gate to come in, so Jubei is going to go down. Still the chase is on for Lund, who could not step away yet. He's been silenced up, and it looks like they'll have enough for him. Just barely before he steps away. They will find a fourth target here on SKG, and I'll tell you, like that team fight was already going to be quite rough here from SKG's end of things. They try to force it anyway, and it certainly does not pan out.
No, it certainly doesn't. And with that kind of taking your Roshan with the Desolator up on your TA, you just go straight for it here on Alpha. You know, there's not much to stop you. Global Silence, Wukong's had to be popped. And again, for Sand King Gómez, this is the one downside of this draft. Execution has to be on point. You have to follow through from the Global Silence into a good use of the Wukongs, into holding them in with a Bramble, you know, just kiting them around with the Terrorize. It's a lot harder to get that perfection out from Sand King Gómez's draft, whereas for Alpha, it's more forgiving. You can stream in one by one. You've got really strong poke play coming out from the Storm here, especially since, again, there's no real hard lockdown for the Storm to stop him from the zips. Maybe the Bramble Maze actually being your best source here. So Alpha can just choose to take what fights they want to. They can choose to retreat a little bit faster. And Sand King Gómez, they're definitely not far behind enough that you start to feel bad here just yet. But the game does equalize, and it does start to feel a little bit more challenging. One shining point is your build-up on Lund is still pretty solid, along with, of course, Leonidas. So you shouldn't be cut off from your major timings too badly. You just, again, you have to play as a team here on Sand King Gómez with this kind of draft.
You do, and things are slowed down a bit too much, I think, for SKG. Bottom. You'll sip around on 9, just using himself up here against the trap of Argus. I think they're going to struggle to try and deal with the TA at this point, that's for sure. So Argus has just been doing a pretty damn good job of not taking any Veno spells. Lund, try and jump in. Meanwhile, top lane, who have they got? Oh, it's going to be another big one. Leonidas. It's going to go down on the Monkey King, and that's the one guy you don't really want to see dying right now if you're SKG. Alpha, I mean, they're just in full control now. 6k advantage. They can just roam the map as a unit. They don't have to worry about their TA so much anymore either. It's just such a challenging position now. Like SKG, it all goes back to that one pick off in the mid lane, where everyone was top and Leonidas went to farm mid past the river, and everything turned from there.
Yeah, I think for Sand King Gómez, it's just maybe a bit of a misread. They are individually strong, but they need to come together as a team and be strong as a unit. Like, you can't afford to try to play the same way Alpha's doing, which is poke and prod with the Storm. Once they see the opportunity, that's when they call in the gate. That's when they get the backup in. You kind of have to make a move, like on Sand King Gómez. If you make a move, you have to commit to it. Oh, good tree cut.
Oh, not again. Leonidas. Oh, he drops the XD as well. He knows. It's just so unfortunate. Sometimes you just have to drop an XD, John. You know me, I love myself a good XD, as 9's also going to drop. And I think SKG, at the very least, Leonidas is well and truly tilted, John. Well and truly.
Yeah, he must be. I mean, you're just chilling in the tree line, you know? You don't expect anyone to cut you down, and suddenly this random storm zips across, breaks your tree, and kills you. Not a pleasant time when someone invades your home like that.
Certainly not, John. As Lund going to try and move in as the Void Spirit, but really can't do much on his own, as the Blast Off's going to land perfectly, though Lund's still jumping, but he's not going to jump far enough. Still will take him out. They go for more now. Ducho just trying to get out of this this top lane. It's barely going to survive, actually. Thanks to the Gossamer's Cape. Still dropping low. Will have the life drain to income, and still has the Aegis up on the Storm, so you know, he'd almost rather die, but Takai is just not having it, giving him the full reset. Still trying, but Leonidas now is back up to the side of SKG, so there is a bit more of a higher chance of a defense actually coming out from this team, but it's pretty hard. They'll lose the top racks. Argus even thinking about going back in, but decides better of it. Is just going to back his way out. Now for now, 1 rack's up. SKG, they're not going to be feeling too happy about themselves at the moment.
Nah, they're probably kicking themselves a bit.
I mean, there's no Aegis on Argus. No BKB up. Trying to run. Team is incoming. Oh, still's got an arcane rune. With the Aegis still up, this is not going to be a good fight for SKG if this keeps up. Still moves in. Jabei's going to be the target on the silencer. He's got no global silence anyway, but they want to just make sure he's dead. Still now just moving in for more. After Ducho, the Veno's gone. Leonidas is still trying to fight within the Wukong's command, but Argus is standing right outside of it. He could not care less about this Wukong's ring. Leonidas is just dead. I don't know if this game's too far gone for SKG at this point, because it sure feels like they can't win a fight.
Nah. Again, this lineup of SKG just could not afford to sit back and relax at any point in the game. It had to be a 5-man death ball, almost start to finish past the laning phase. And at some point you take a break, the TA starts farming up, and you just don't have that connection with your heroes. Nothing to keep them Wukongs outside of Bramble Maze. No hard lockdown to start things off outside of catching with a Remnant, which is easier said than done up against a Storm. Like, it's so much more forgiving for Alpha. Now they just ripped the high ground apart.
Still going to be onto the Dark Willow.
Dire's middle barracks are under attack.
There goes the mid racks now. The only one left standing is going to be the bottom racks.
Dire's middle barracks.
Leonidas back in. They know exactly which tree he was in, but they are not going to bother sticking around. Just want to reset again. No need to rush this game. 2 racks is up, considering where you were. Like, Alpha's going to be extremely happy with the state of this game now. And, of course, they do still have a tier 2 tower remaining down in the bottom lane. So you've got to deal with that before you can try for the megas. Also, you've got a range racks up the top lane that's 1 hit away from dying. But, of course, somebody will take care of that later on, as Ducho is currently being taken care of now. Argus having a really good time getting his revenge, I'm sure, as mid lane. They've even lost to Kaya. And 9 does also go down. Lund. Oh, Fiend's Gate. Silence is up. Lund, he'll step away. More TPs incoming. Braxy looking for a blast off. Unable to get within range, but the chase is on. Lund's got another astral step, though. Surely he should be able to get out, though Steel will zip behind him. Doesn't have enough mana to reach him again, I don't think. There's a lot of wasted time by Lund here. It feels like Alpha could have just gone bot lane and just started the push for the tier 2 tower, but they decide to chase across the map instead. Ultimately, we'll find nothing thanks to it.
Yeah. Just again, it's a lot of back and forth. The game state's still really in Alpha's favor, 26-16. I think the next move is just really wait for Roche now at this point. Like, respawn's not too far off. You still have the TA, you've got the maxed out Deso. Crystal is up and running. 12 on Argus into the full Daedalus. With a Venomancer, you mentioned the aura build up here, Mike. He's only been able to go into the Guardian Greaves, which is helpful. But, you know, when you think about the big aura right now for physical cores, it's something like the Crimson card. Venomancer is not the highest strength gain hero at all, not even remotely close. So as a Crimson carrier, he's not the best in blocking out that damage. You have to execute perfectly in these team fights as well. You need to see that connection. You know, it's got to be a good Wukong, a good global, good Bramble on top, a good Remnant coming out here from London. All of that's easier said than done.
Well, they have found the Storm, but Terrorize not going to come out on Steel, and to be fair, I don't think they would have actually had enough to kill him. Still going to be okay. Have the BKB just in case he needed it after the Yules. SKG still not able to find an opening that they can really kind of abuse. With that, I mean, Alpha just need to just play it safe, take their time. They're 20k ahead. Not too much time, of course, but you could certainly think about just waiting for the next Roshan, which is about 1 minute and 10 seconds away. Definitely no rush to just secure the next Roche first. It seems like they're already prepping the areas with mines just to ensure that they have plenty of information if they're coming. And speaking of coming, SKG, they are on their way. Is the mines around are just going to give too much info. Just the sound cue immediately tells you where they are. Ward's down here by 9. That's going to be pretty obvious warding though. Alpha is going to move in for a D ward, and Blesskid will just do it himself. Let's just send some Mantra Illusions in to try and deal with the the mines being placed here by the techies, but Nine's gonna get caught out. Rooted up in place, and he is just as good as dead. Argus finding his 10th kill of the game is still now gonna zip in, finding Ducho, finding the Monkey King. They got him off the tree.
No.
Leonidas is down. They zipped right through the tree line, and still just taking out the tree was enough. As Ducho's gonna try for the TP, but GG's called. Leonidas, he's seen enough. Can't quite blame him. Props to Alpha. Pretty rough start for game 1 for Alpha, but they make the comeback happen. SKG unable to make the draft work.